We've come back to Estabrook Park, one of 6 Milwaukee County parks with an authentic Bavarian beer garden. In just a few minutes, Elizabeth Cramer attends a Krampusnacht celebration at another beer garden in this area. And then I'll search for prehistoric artifacts at Hixton Silver Mound with artifact collector Gene Hynek and flint napper Art Boehme. But first, I'll take you pheasant hunting at the Bunkhouse in Ozaukee County. I'm Dan Small, and it's time once again for Outdoor Wisconsin.
Summer to fall, winter to spring, from Green Bay to where the St. Croix sings, from Kettle Moraine to Superior Shore. Outdoor Wisconsin, outdoor Wisconsin.
We'll visit the Estabrook Beer Garden a little later in the show, but I'll bet you didn't know there's a beer connection to pheasants in Wisconsin. That's right, legendary Milwaukee brewer, a brewer of beer, not a baseball player, Gustav Pabst, first introduced pheasants in Waukesha County in 1916, and the rest, as they say, is history. Pheasants now occupy suitable habitat, and that's primarily grasslands and agricultural croplands throughout much of the state. Pheasant hunting is popular on both public lands and private shooting preserves. I'm out today at Pheasants at Large at the Bunkhouse in Ozaukee County with Lauren Voss, Jerry Duell, Bill Large, and Dan Large. Now this is Dan's hunt club, and Dan, tell us a little bit about Pheasants at Large.
Well, we've been in business here about 15 years, and we sell hunts. Groups come out, purchase some birds, put in the field so their dog can have some success. We've got a couple of different fields that we hunt in, so we put a couple birds out for you here today and see how you guys do.
Now, when you have hunters who haven't had much experience in the field, do you give them an orientation?
Always, yeah. If we take a group out, we always go through a little plain orientation, safety orientation, absolutely. I know you guys are experienced hunters, but it'd be probably worth talking about it before we head out.
Absolutely.
So the idea is we're going to kind of make a drive through the field. We're going to flush the field out. Our dogs are going to work back and forth. We're going to try to keep them in close within range so that any bird that does flush up, they're going to have a decent shot at.
Nice shot, Dan.
We try to walk in a line where we're making a drive. I always use the analogy of a clock, and I say if 12 o'clock would be straight ahead, you want another hunter at 9 o'clock and at 3 o'clock. And then you got a good zone of fire between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, so we got a good safe shooting. So we always obviously use all the gun safety rules. We don't have our safeties off on our gun unless we're going to discharge the gun or shoot a bird, put it back on safe. A couple of things we tell you about our dogs. No bird, no bird. We've got a no bird command. If a bird gets up and flushes and it looks like the bird's not going to get shot, we'll start hollering no bird to our dog. No bird, come here. So that the dog doesn't get out of range and look for a bird that never went down and flush something wild that we wouldn't be able to shoot at. So we'll use that command for our dogs, no bird. We'll be calling our dogs back once in a while. Kai, here.
Well, tell us about your dogs. Why don't we start with Kai?
Kai, Kai's pretty full of energy. She's only 2.5. She's, I'll say a rookie. This is probably her first year hunting. She's got a lot of energy. You're gonna see as we start off. Stay here, hey. So I'm talking to her quite often to stay back and stay close. But she's a real lover at home. She's a pet, lays on the couch quite a bit. When she gets in the hunting field, she just has a ball. And then we got a couple other dogs here. Jerry's dog's another lab here. These are both flushers. Flushers meaning the dog will go out and bump the bird, find the bird, flush the bird up to give us a shot at it. And my brother Bill's dog here, an English setter, is a pointer. Pointer is going to run out and find a bird and lock on it and just point and look at the bird until we go over and flush the bird. Should be a bird in there. Let it flush. The way these dogs work together, we often have our dogs go in and flush instead of a lot of times a pointer will point at the bird and the hunter will walk up then and flush the bird. A lot of times when we're working together, we'll let our flusher go after the dog, this dog's name is Speck, after Speck points a bird, we'll let one of our dogs go in and flush it. So they kind of work as a team. They work together well.
We put a GoPro camera on Speck's back there to see if we can get some point of view shots today. It'll be interesting to see how she does with that.
The goal of the hunter is obviously to stay safe and shoot the birds as we flush them. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to spread out here. We're going to walk this up to the west a little bit. We're going to try to keep the dogs in close. We'll get our line, keep a nice safe line here, walk up, and when we get toward the end of the field, we're going to turn south, and we're going to run it down south a ways, and then we're going to turn around, just work this whole area here. It's a beautiful natural grasses here along with some wooded area. I think you're going to find a nice hunt here. So.
All right. Well, Dan, why don't you take the middle because you've got a dog, and Lauren and I will flank you on either side and see what we find.
got a point here.
Lacey, here.
Dan.
That one's stuck.
Oh, she made a good retrieve on that one.
She loves that. I think she likes that more than she does like finding them sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
We'll put that one away and we'll find some more.
all right.
Cool. Nice shot again.
Thank you.
Kai, stay with us. It's important to keep the dogs disciplined and stay with us, you know. And when we run a hunt, we try to make a drive, and a lot of times a bird will be off to the side somewhere, and the dog will get a scent and want to take off after that. And guys that hunt alone with their dogs will do that. They'll chase the birds all over, but when we're hunting with a group like this, it's important to keep the guys together for safety. So we'll have to bring those dogs back quite often. Even though they're after a bird somewhere over there, we'll go back over later and we'll get it. So that's why we're talking to the dogs a lot, bringing them back. So we're gonna take a sweep around, guys. We're gonna go to the west here, back to that pond. A lot of scratch birds will hang out by that pond. We're gonna go see if we can't kick up a few back there, all right? We're turning west this time. They like to hang in that area, Dan, so I'd be expecting one in the same area. She's on one, guys. Watch it. Nice shot, Dan.
That's what she was after.
Heck of a shot.
A hen this time.
Yeah,
here.
got a hen this time and nice retrieve.
Here.
Nice shot.
I'll tell you what,
Here.
Kai was she was really birdie there, so that hen must have run out another 20 yards ahead or something.
Yeah, Kai was on that one.
Yeah. Well,
That was
shows you the
nice.
value of a couple good dogs. Come on, girls, find that bird. I hit him, but man, he was so close, I didn't dare shoot right away. Well, I'll tell you what, the combination of pointer and flusher retriever is working really well. I mean,
It is fun to watch.
it certainly is. You don't see many people hunting both types together like
Yeah,
that.
they've been doing it for a couple of years and they enjoy each other.
I guess so, yeah. Well, and we're having a good time too, so.
Even though Lacey's, I think she's hogging the retrieve because that was Kai's.
I know, but hey, that's all right.
That's right, as long as one of them bring it back.
Exactly. We got a point.
Nice job, Dan.
I'm not taking any more chances. If it takes two to bring them down, I'm doing it. Yes, she was pointing right there. That bird was right at the base of that dead tree.
That's a nice flush. You see that bird, powerful. That's what makes pheasant hunting fun. You get a little cackle on the way up. Dog gets a reward. Gets to go after the bird, retrieve it. That's one of the reasons why you hunt a game farm, because there's a guaranteed population. The dog has success.
Well, they're flying strong today, that's for sure. Heads up, heads up.
Dog's doing a great job. Finally. Very nice. Yeah. Clean shot. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty birds, aren't they? They're just
Very nice.
nice job.
Very nice. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Back on the board.
I'll get in here and kind of walk it that way with the dog. Nice job.
Whew, that bird sat tight. Well, Lacey finally let Kai retrieve one.
Yeah, Lacey likes to retrieve. Kai's a little timid yet. She's young, but she did get a chance, yep. Nice shot you made on it, Dan.
Yeah,
Over the
thank
hill.
you, thank you. Both dogs worked well today. All three dogs
All
worked
three,
well
yeah.
today.
Spec did a great job, and Kai, and they all seem to get along pretty good.
They do. You know, not many people hunt pointers and flushers together,
Yeah.
but they work well together.
Yeah, I thought so. I think they work well
That
together.
one
Good.
landed right by
Nice
the
day
top.
for hunting.
You couldn't ask for a better day, really. And you know, for people who've never hunted at a club before, I think we've shown some of the benefits, but what's the message that you like to tell people?
You know, I mentioned that earlier, Dan. That's a good point. The club, you got a guaranteed population. You know you're going to have success for your dog. And if you watch some of these flushes and you watch those dogs, the fun that they're having, not only to flush the bird, but to retrieve the bird, to bring it back to you. I mean, that's what they live for. They're great pets at home. They love to curl up on the couch, but when they get in the field, I mean, that really is what makes them click. So you've probably seen that in some of those earlier flushes and retrieves.
Well, I'll tell you what, they put on a great show today, and you put on a great hunt for us, so we really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming out.
You bet. We'll have to come back.
I hope so.
The Esterbrook Beer Garden was the first public beer garden in the U.S. since Prohibition. It's pretty quiet here now, but from spring through fall, it's a busy place. It's a slice of old country tradition right here in Milwaukee County. And another old country tradition is Krampusnacht. It's an Austrian and Bavarian tradition celebrated each year on December 5th, when the mythical figure Krampus visits children who've been bad on the same night St. Nicholas visits kids who've been good. Last December, Elizabeth Cramer caught up with Krampus and joined the fun at the Bavarian Beer House just up the river from here.
It's a chilly December 5th, and as many children put out their shoes awaiting the arrival of St. Nick, a special group in Milwaukee anticipates the arrival of a different character.
So I'm glad to say, as of today, we have done 900 tickets for Milwaukee Krampusnacht. Some of you might be a little bit curious about what Krampus is all about.
I am the Krampus. Krampus comes on Krampus Day, Krampusnacht, the day before St. Nicholas Day. St. Nicholas Day is the day the children put their shoes by the front door to be rewarded by St. Nicholas as he passes through the town. If you were good, you'll get candy, fruits, nuts, little toys. But if you've been bad, I come the night before. I will come and I will leave coal and twigs and rocks in your shoes to let Nicholas know you've been bad, and not to leave you candy or reward you for pretending and not actually being nice. If you were really naughty, like too naughty for coal, I will put you in either my bag or my basket, and I will take you back with me to my home. And depending on how naughty you were, you may spend an hour with me there. You may spend a year with me there. Or if you were like extremely naughty, I could just bake you into a pie and eat you.
It's okay, the Krampus will not get you.
I understand children get scared, but that is part of the tradition. I frighten you, you listen to Mom, Dad, and Nicholas.
I give you treats and love.
There you have it.
What was it like to meet Krampus?
It was kind of scary.
Scary? At first? And then what happened?
And then I realized he was just a man in a suit.
You talked to him for a little while. Was he nice?
It was nice to meet you there. Now you've been good, right? Right?
It's okay. No.
When we get an opportunity to meet kids afterwards like that, once we take our heads off or things like that, and explain to them, yes, this is something you need to be aware of. You need to be a little bit scared, but we all need to be a little bit scared. And that's usually how it winds up. Everything's good. Of course, they were nice all year, and they don't want to see you no more. Go away.
Who do you like better, Krampus or St. Nick?
Are you surprised by how popular this has become?
I am surprised, definitely. This is much bigger than I thought. I did expect growth, though, because last year was such a fun time.
This is all handmade by me. There's tooling on the belts. There are 121 bells attached into the fur of this costume.
There's going to be a Krampus market.
Yes. We're going to have a Krampus photo booth again.
1, 2, scared as heck! Yes! That's how we do it!
The Kids Krampus Hour is a big thing that we're adding this year, and I'm really glad that that seems to have a strong interest. I think it's going to be really fun and a great way to get the kids more involved. In addition to Krampus, there's a lot of European traditions that have very similar type of things where the children are told, that some sort of character is going to scare them into being good. So I'm really glad to have the Italian Community Center is involved this year. The Welsh Club of Milwaukee are both those groups are presenting their own cultural traditions.
And that tradition is what makes it still kid-friendly, because, it seems scary at first, just in a way that Halloween does, and yet kids love it.
This is Jens.
Hi, Jens.
And Jens, his Krampus is going to be one of the kid Krampus, obviously. I'm Megan, and I sort of made a combination Krampus / Yule goat.
Megan, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to have Jens participate?
It actually started about a year ago. We had gone to the Krampus parade, which was at another location. My family is Austrian. My grandmother came here in the early 1920s, and she's actually from the Tyrolean area of Austria, which is where this originates from, sort of in the Alpine region. So it was really important for me as well to pass on that heritage to my children and let them know sort of a background just of where, you know, where they come from, and that this is a really important part of their lives and their heritage as well. I had showed him a lot of different videos, and I wanted him to kind of see, like, this is what it's going to be, like they're going to try to scare you on purpose. We made it through, and we actually had a really great time, and I thought, why isn't there a kids parade?
Merry Krampusnacht!
A lot of the villages in Austria will actually have children's parades, so it's one of those things where I thought, these are all adults, but there have to be kids that would also really get into this. It's kind of an extension of Halloween almost, where, you know, you dress up, you become somebody different, and you know, you really kind of take on that persona. This is really important. I absolutely want to be a part of this. It's such a grassroots portion of this particular event, if you'll call it that.
And Jens, are you so excited your mom is the parade leader?
Mm-hmm.
How much fun did you have making your costume?
Pretty much fun.
What's that?
A bell.
What is that?
A tail.
A tail, and there's bells on the tail? Why so many bells?
So it made more, like, noise.
Let's talk a little bit about the parade.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Milwaukee Krampus.
The parade, I feel really good about the parade route this year.
We're now commencing the festivity of the parade.
And it's going through the beer house's beer garden, which is so great because there's trees everywhere, and there's these little buildings that are shuttered now because it's winter. But in the summer, they're used to sell pretzels and stuff like that. So it looks like a miniature Bavarian village that the parade is going to be going through.
How perfect that this very Eastern European German event is being held at a German beer hall. How easy was it to coordinate this event with the beer hall?
Oh, they were great, and they're very into it. So they've been very supportive of the events.
Milwaukee is, of course, known for its, you know, rich German heritage. You know, we were founded by many of the Germans and the Austrians. I just think the fact that we are still willing to embrace that heritage in this city is huge. This started out last year. It has more than probably doubled in size from what it was a year ago. So I think that just speaks volumes to what the city, you know, really enjoys. Give us a good festival, and we're always happy to put on a great show in Milwaukee.
We'll tell you how to get more information on Krampusnacht later in the show. This gadget is an atlatl. It predates the bow and arrow and was used for thousands of years to throw spears like this to take big game. Here in North America, a favorite location for the material used to make spear points, arrowheads, and other tools was a place in Jackson County called Hixton Silver Mound. Today, this is a National Historic Landmark, and I joined Gene Hynek and Art Boehme there to learn about the history of this fascinating place and to look for some prehistoric artifacts. We're out today in Jackson County with Gene Hynek and Art Boehme, and we're actually at a location called Hixton Silver Mound. And Gene, there's a lot of history here, isn't there?
Yes, sir. The first people that came to the Americas found this stone and used it 13,000 years ago, probably, and it's been in use ever since, down to the last 300 years ago. They were still making points out of this material.
Mm-hmm. So the stone you're talking about is a special quartzite that exists here?
It's Hixton silicified sandstone, technically. It's sand grains that have been filled with chalcedony or silica and hardened. But Hixton, I've found, is the one that napped the best. Sometimes it seems like when the people came in here and found this, they left their other stuff be and used the Hixton, because we find a lot of other materials here too.
So when you say people, what people are we talking about here?
We're talking about the Aboriginal American Indians that were here for thousands of years.
Well, just walking in this cornfield here, approaching the mound, we found a few pieces, and Gene, you say that that is an artifact that someone worked years ago?
Yes, sir. And it's a beautiful piece of the material. It's flaked on both sides, all the way around here and around this side. This was naturally part of the stone, I think. And on the end here, if you feel it, it's really smooth. Mm-hmm. They were using this as a knife or a cutting tool.
Uh-huh.
It's neat.
Yeah,
I don't always find something that good when I come up here.
And that is the material, that Hixton silicified sandstone you're talking about?
It is, yes, sir.
Now, Art, could you make something with that?
Yes, I could. Let's take a look at that other one that you found. Yeah, these smaller ones, and this in particular, believe it or not, will make an arrow point, a deadly arrow point that you could kill a deer with ease. Mm-hmm. And I like to, this is fairly flat too, so it won't take a lot of work on my part to shape it. And I like these little flakes like that just for that reason, and just make little Madison points, little triangular points, small notch points, and that's what they were used. And I think most of the arrowheads that were made, got to be careful here, by primitive hunters, were just simply flakes like that they retouched into a projectile point. Mm-hmm. Many people think that a small point that this is going to turn into is a bird point, but it is not. Deer were killed with little bitty points, maybe a half-inch wide and 3/4 of an inch long, and I believe that a lot of these waste flakes were made into them. I certainly do.
Uh-huh. And you hunt deer with points that you make yourself?
Yes.
Well, we found a few points out here in the cornfield, but a lot of this material was actually quarried up here on the hill. Is that right?
Yes, yes. The bulk of it was taken from quarry pits, and there are just hundreds and hundreds of these quarry pits. And they would spend some time, of course, digging it out and getting the material that they need, and then the fields out here all around were workshops and camps at one time, and they would drag it out there and work it. And then I don't know how much time they would spend. I suppose it depends on how far away they came, and when they got what they needed and perhaps extra for trading, then they left.
Okay. Well, can we go take a look at some of these pits?
Yep, we are a short distance from them. Yes, we are going to go find some.
The pits are up ahead?
Yeah, we shouldn't have to go, if I remember right, we shouldn't have to go very far.
So all I see here is a little depression. Is that
That's a
quarry?
pit.
That is.
Yeah, that's definitely a pit. It doesn't look like much, but of course debris and everything like that is filled in for thousands of years.
Gene, how was this material formed? Do we know?
The way some people have described it as an ancient beach. It was sand at one time, and it filled in with silica, chalcedony, and cemented the sand grains together, and that's all the Hixton we see is just little tiny grains of sand cemented together.
These pits are filled with debris, but that stone or something solid down there. Yeah. Can we dig in them?
Can we dig in those?
Yeah.
The quarry is pretty much off limits for anything like that, from private ownership.
Well, shall we go back out in the field and see what we can find?
Yep.
That looks like a piece there, Art.
Oh, what do you got?
Look at that. That looks like a knife. It's been flaked all the way around, both sides. I've got another 10 hours now before I find one.
Yeah, how often do you find these?
I figure maybe every 8 or 10 hours I might find one.
One that quality?
We're doing good.
That anything?
No.
This is a little bit like the needle in the haystack, isn't it? If I got into this seriously, I'd put a shovel on the end of my golf stick here.
You see that real colorful stuff a lot of times right next to the cortex.
Uh-huh. Gene, what do you make of this?
Wow, that's lucky. I usually gotta walk to 8 or 10 hours to find something like that. That's a woodland point probably, not, you know, maybe 1,500, 1,800 years old.
Really? Just sitting here right in the field.
Right there. Why, and what gets me is why did they leave it here, you know? It's just...
Well, maybe it fell out of his pouch or something.
Could have.
Or maybe
he missed his quarry and...
Yeah. Now, you have a whole collection of points like this, don't you?
I do, yeah. I found a lot of points up here at Hixton.
Well, why don't we take a break and go look at them?
Sounds good. Be glad to show them to you.
All right. That's a cool find. To learn more about Hixton Silver Mound and this week's other features, log on to MilwaukeePBS.org and search local programs for outdoor Wisconsin, or visit the Milwaukee PBS Facebook page. Well, next time we'll head back to Hixton Silver Mound for a look at Gene Hynek's arrowhead collection. I'll show you how to get a pheasant ready for the table, and Elizabeth Cramer visits Cave of the Mounds for an underground holiday concert. I'm Dan Small. Join us again next week for Outdoor Wisconsin.